Hello, this is Karaoke, and this is Magic Knight Rayearth, an 8% no Polizu skip. We'll just get started here with a new game. So, thankfully in this game you can skip all of the animated cutscenes by pressing the start or the C button. That is the major difference between the United States and Japanese version of the game. Japanese version, you cannot skip any of the cutscenes, and there's also a lot more voiced text in the game, which is also unskippable. So, at the start of the game here, we're just going to walk over to these stairs, and we're going to kind of wedge ourselves in to where this NPC is. And we want her to walk all the way over and then down. There we go. And once the screen stops scrolling, we're going to hold up and right. And as you can see at the top left, our HP is now dropping. And even though we only had one character in our party at the start, we now have all three, and all their HP drops down. And we are now going to warp onto the map and to the first town. This is called either the Tokyo Tower skip or the intro skip. This skips essentially the first half hour of the game if you were playing normally. There's a lot of voiced cutscenes and plot and unskippable text that you cannot, skip. Just have to sit through it. And there's a tutorial dungeon and 3 tutorial bosses normally that you have to go through. And all that is skipped by doing that little out-of-bounds glitch there. It's, I guess, coded into the game that whenever you die in a non-dungeon, you are just warped to the world map and warped to the first town. So here I actually do want to go into the menu and change the message speed to the fastest one, and I also want to change the control type to the second type there. So what that does is that changes the change character button to the C button, puts the map button on L, and the change magic button to R. So part of the intro cutscene is you're getting special weapons and learning magic. And that's what that giant black thing by the character portrait on the top left is. It's supposed to be our magic that's currently equipped. We do have the magic, but we do not have our leveled up weapons. So we kind of still have just the training weapons, like we skipped our first level essentially. So in this first town we talked to the spellcaster guy and learned that there are some problems in this cave over here, and we're gonna go solve those problems in the cave full of monsters. So as this is a Saturn game, the load times are going to be a little bit, rough. But that's okay. So this dungeon introduces the different kinds of puzzles you need to solve to get through dungeons. So pushing blocks is the most common one. Also there's special paths you can go through. I will be taking a safety item here by going through this part and opening the chest. We do have to be a little bit careful because we do only have 3 HP at this point. We're supposed to have 4 per character, and our attacks aren't as strong as they should be. So this game plays a lot like your typical action RPG, like a 2D Zelda or something, where you're going to be moving around. You can move around in an 8-direction plane. You have an attack button. There's a magic button. If you walk for a certain number of walk cycles, I think it's like basically almost 3 or 4 walk cycles, you do start running. So we're going to try to keep running as much as we can by doing those walk cycles. There's a way to kind of shorten the cycles needed to start running. And also, if you jump between loading screens here, you will keep your running, basically. That's another thing that we're going to try to keep doing, is if we start running, we're going to start jumping between the room loading zones. And that way we can keep our speed. There's a lot of fancy things you can do by jumping into cutscene triggers and jumping across rooms in this game. So this is actually one point where if you're walking fast enough, you're running, and you jump, you can jump over those blocks and actually land behind them before they fall. So you kind of skip having to push them to get through. We gotta hit a switch there. That's okay. So we're just going through this dungeon, running into the old man a few times. If you jump into this cutscene, if you jump too far, apparently the game will kind of hang for a little bit before finally realizing what it should do. That's one point where you don't want to jump through. I'm actually going to pick up this health jewel here and use it on Umi. Umi's going to be our main damage dealer once she levels up. You level up automatically by finishing some dungeons. I'm going to pull it back out and go through that cycle again. Just take it a little safe and ride the platform around. If you're walking fast enough, you can actually just jump across the pit. So these special mirrors are scattered about in some dungeons. We always have to usually hit them up. And we learn new magic that way. So here, Fu learned a new magic spell. We do not want her to get knocked out because she's required to pass through this dungeon. Wait for the platform. And now we'll switch over to Fu. And we're going to switch her magic to the spell she just learned. So now that she learned a new spell, all of her magic's gonna appear in the top corner. And this is another treasure chest we're gonna get for some more money. That's just for some safeties. We picked up a health potion earlier, and we're gonna buy a mana potion with this money in the next town. So this is a healing fountain. It will heal your HP and MP to max if I can activate it. Thank you. And this is going to be our first boss of the run. We'll start him off with a sword slash there, just do a little extra damage. Other than that, we're going to start using our magics here. We're going to stick to using Hikaru's and Umi's magics. Because we want to keep Fu's magic at max due to a glitch we're going to do now. We also want to keep her alive. So what I did there is I had Fu selected. Fu still has magic. And I am pressing the magic button and the character switch button at the same time. So on the same frame. What that does is it switches characters and also uses that character's magic. So this way, you can use magic without actually having the MP to cast it. Need to slash the spider one more time there. I think the music kind of hung there by accident. So the magic glitch was thought to be only in the Japanese version of the game until recently. Then it was found out by Mitjitsu, who is also the tasser of this game. did a really good task of this game. That was found out that the magic list also works in the US version, and it's very helpful, especially because we are low leveled and our levels determine our physical attack power. Magic power isn't determined so much by your actual level, and magic overall is a lot stronger. So Hikaru has gained a level up, she's now level 1. At level 1, you gain a charge attack to your physical attack, so we'll be using Hikaru mostly right now for physical attacks. Until Umi levels up, and then we'll start using Umi, because Umi is a little bit stronger. Alright, let's hope that doesn't happen again. We want to climb into this house here, in this town, and talk to this man here as NPC. And he tells us about a guy that, can swim, and can take us to the frozen island in the north, because apparently we want to go there. In one of the early cutscenes that we skipped due to the, out-of-bounds glitch, we are told of, to seek out the volcano, sea, and sky to find these special machines that we need to use to save the world. So the plot of this game is, if you haven't seen the anime or read the manga, this is based off of a 90s series by the Circle Clamp. Very popular, kind of popularized the magic kind of warriors trope that, you know, Sailor Moon also has. Also want to talk to this girl here. And then head out to the map. So this plot of this game is based off of the first season and the first half of the first season of the anime, first half of the manga, with some liberties taken to kind of pad out the game. There's a portion of the game that doesn't have as many animated cutscenes. All the animated cutscenes are taken from the anime that was aired, I guess, a year or so before this game came out in Japan. Not 100% sure on the dates. So you're 3 girls from Tokyo who are zapped to another world and tasked with saving the Princess Emerald, who was captured by one of her minions that she had under her. This game came out in 1995 in Japan. It didn't come out in the US until 1998 due to Sega of America's policies at the time, where they did not like 2D games very much and were kind of blocking people from releasing them. And also, apparently some source code for this game was lost, and parts of it had to be recoded before it could be released. This is another Working Designs localization. If you, read the text and hear the voice acting, you can probably tell just by judging from that. So we're gonna go back up here and see this little cutscene here of Sarah talking to the guy that came back. He was feeling bad because her last pet died and he couldn't save it, even though he was like the best swimmer in town. So this game was actually the final Saturn game released in the US, completely. There have been some homebrew games since, but this was the last, official release ever made. Reviews were middling. It's a pretty standard game. Relatively easy, even though Working Designs did up the difficulty of it as usual. They gave the bosses a lot more HP and made them hit harder. So here, this guy's teaching us how to swim. Except for Fu, she needs a floaty to help swim. And we're gonna get a little voice cutscene.
Clef.
And Precious. Mysterious Sephiroth Lecture number 2. Hikaru and the others have mastered the skill known as Roaring Rapid Wave Cut.
Yes. In other words, the girls have learned how to swim like beavers.
Now they can journey to the ice cave on the island to the north.
By pressing the attack button while in the water, the girls swim forward. It's that easy.
Okay, that's it for now. We hope you're enjoying the game.
See you later, kids.
Yes, that was lecture number 2. We just didn't see number 1. Number 1 happens during the portion of the game we skip when we have Makona join our party. And that kind of teaches us about some basic menus that we can access at that time. How to save and all that stuff. So how to swim. Swimming is mashing your attack button. We have to head through these whirlpools. They're going to swing us around a lot. We want to head into the center of the area here. Oh, not there. This part here. We're going to be swung around here a little bit. There is a slightly easier path you can take to get through here. I think I missed the whirlpool that slingshots you around there. That's okay. Yep, that one's going to sling us back. Yeah, the direction these whirlpools are actually swirling really doesn't tell you where they're going to send you or anything. Alright, there we go. So here, we don't want Hikaru to get knocked out, so I'm going to keep her in the back, actually. Because this is an ice cave, and Hikaru has fire magic, so we're going to want her to stay alive to solve some of the puzzles. So there's some decently hard-hitting enemies here. Nothing too difficult. And a lot of sliding block puzzles that we're going to be solving. Did not want to hit that. Want to hit this button here. We want to freeze those blocks. And here's another mirror. And Hikaru's going to learn a new magic spell this time. Therefore, now her magic's going to show in the top corner there. We're going to switch to it. So we're going to need to use it in the next room. We are going to defeat some enemies here, so we do need to get a magic refill. Oh, that's not good. Luckily, we do have that health potion that we're just going to use. And that'll also refill our magic for some reason. Got kind of ganged up there, and usually I save that health potion for a boss later, but this is fine. We can always pick more up. And here, this is where we need to use our new magic to get the ice off those blocks, off those switches. And that's why we needed Hikaru alive, because otherwise we'd have to leave the dungeon and get healed in town and come back. We also need Fu for this spot here. Or I suppose we could use a magic spell instead to hit that switch. I've never tried. But then we'll just duck through here. And here we want to go into the center of the room a little bit. And use Fu's magic to clear all the enemies really quickly. Okay, missed a couple, that's fine. So we'll just use... These guys don't damage us for whatever reason. Please come here. Thank you. Did I miss one? There might be one more. Yep, this guy got stuck over here. That's fine. We'll run across here. Now for another giant ice block puzzle. The hitboxes on these are very iffy. We want to do this one first so we can get behind it to push it down. Come on, right in the center to push these guys. And then just hit the last one. We want to head to the back of the room here to trigger a cutscene. Sound is glitching out there a little bit. So this is the first machine that we were tasked to find. Oh, and by the way, that's Makona. We haven't seen him before until now. He's the mascot character. So below us is the machine, Saris. We need to prove ourselves to him before he'll join us. So this kid's Ascot. He's one of the evil guys sent by Zagat, or Zagato, depending on which version you're watching or playing. They call him Zagat in this version. He's the big bad guy. He's one of Zagat's cronies sent to stop us from saving the princess. And his specialty is like monsters and stuff, so he transformed that giant spider before, and now he transformed the little pink dragon baby into a giant pink dragon. So again, this boss isn't hard either. We're going to want to lure him over to the right side so he can't hit us. Because he'll just kind of float in the air and try to squish us. Other than that, we're just going to stand here and shoot him with our magic. As long as he's on the screen, no matter what form he's taking trying to attack us, he will take damage with magic. So that ding noise there, that's the sound that happens when you're trying to use magic, you don't have enough, so I kind of mistimed my switch there. I think that one didn't hit. That's fine though. Come on, land. There we go. That should be it. So it's unfortunate that we had to destroy him because he got transformed. So we kind of yell at Ascot before he disappears. Cutscene, we skip it. Sarah's a little bit angry at us, even though she really knows it's not our fault that we had to kill her little dragon. And apparently that was worthy enough for Saris to be impressed, and now he's going to join us, which really doesn't do anything. It's just plot. We don't get anything special or whatnot from the machines joining us. And this is going to be the only machine for a while that joins us. So another little cutscene. The next two were very close together at the end of the game. So what this music means here is we're gonna get a cutscene with the evil people, and all of their cutscenes are voiced. So, part of the stuff we skipped involved Alcyone, who was that thing in the crystal there. She kind of failed in capturing us. They got really mad and captured her in a crystal.
Caldina?
And now we're gonna meet Caldina. She's the next kind of major boss lady that we're gonna fight. And the white hair guy's a Nova. He's like Zagat's right-hand man. He just kind of stands there for most of the game and pledges to do whatever Zagat wants him to do. So moving on, we're gonna head on to the next town now. All the whirlpools and whatnot are gone now that that frozen lump in the ocean is gone, so we can just swim right on over to the next town. Again, lots and lots of mashing. So we'll switch characters. I have Fu in the lead here. We're gonna pass by Caldina there dancing, and some other guy there is kind of watching her. And then a lot of slow down here because there's so many sprites on screen, so much happening. And we're gonna talk to this guy here. Apparently we've met him before. This is Feria. We meet him in the tutorial dungeon that we didn't do. So he's kind of like the you know, sort of guy that likes all the girls and whatnot. So with that cutscene done, we're gonna go to the inn. Inns are pretty useless because you just heal your HP in on the fountains, but inns are always used for cutscene triggers, or plot triggers rather. So at certain times we're gonna need to stay in the inn, and something will happen at night, or we like pass a quote-unquote day and move on. So Caldina's dance bewitched everybody in town, all the men in town at least, because Ferio had the women kind of under his magic spell, not really magic spell, he was just attracting them with his flute playing. And so all the men are ending up in the cave, and we're gonna go check it out because it's kind of weird. Fu's kind of angry that Ferio's been flirting with random NPCs, but it's okay. So this next dungeon's called the Bewildering Cave because it is kind of a bit of a maze. But there's basically one very easy path you can just take to get right through it. There's a lot of items scattered around here that we don't need. A lot of treasure chests. There's these things in the game called rainbow amulets. There's, I believe, 7 of each in 7 colors, or 8 of each in 7 colors, something like that. That you collect, and you can go trade them into a secret shop that's like in the middle of the map for special goodies that are entirely useless, and they're also used to unlock stuff in the extras menu that you get after you beat the game. And there's also a couple like HP crystals and that kind of stuff around here. So Umi has learned her second spell. That means her spells are going to show up in the top left now. That's the only reason we need to head over here. There's a secret little path over there to get that HP jewel, and I think maybe another item. Be careful with the dolphins. We always land on the land there for some reason, and we're going to head up this elevator and take this... Oh, I walked right over it. Take this slidey thing, so we need to walk all the way over there. And then take that elevator down. I'm going to dodge the hoppy guy up here. And here we're going to use Water Tornado on this porcupine to destroy him. Pick up this magic jewel for Umi, which will restore her magic. And then use Water Tornado again on these fires. Enemies take enemies take preference when it comes to being hit by stuff. So that's why the torches didn't go out right away when we did it earlier. So now we have to fight Caldina. This fight is super annoying without the magic glitch, because she's all the way over there and we're all the way over here, and we have no way to actually, like, reach her. I think she was out of iframes there. That's okay though. If we didn't use the magic glitch, we'd either have to use our mana potion, or we would have to aim with Fu, because Fu has a bow and arrow as her weapon. So she's the only long-range character. But Fu is also the weakest character. And that'll do it for Caldina. Plus, she has a move, that move where she circles you, you have to hit the correct one that is like twirling differently and not in step with the others, which is really hard to see because of all the stuff coming through the top layer in front of you. So it can be hard to keep track of which one is the one. If you hit the wrong one, you take damage, so it actually was kind of easy to die there if you weren't careful with hitting the right one. Or just not attacking at that time. And if you were holding Fu's charge shot, it'd be kind of hard to not let go and hit the wrong one, because her charge shot homes in on the closest enemy.
It seems my little pet Alcyone has vanished.
Plus Caldina has other hard to dodge, like, ranged attacks that it was difficult, but we can just use Magic Glitch and she goes down pretty easily. So we want to go over back to the inn now and talk to the innkeeper again, because we don't know where we're going to go next. We have no idea. So she mentions that the next town is blocked by falling rocks, and we need to find a way to get through them. And apparently there's a guy who can either get through there for us or teach us how to get through there. So he lives all the way at the top of the village, and his house is like covered in ice. But he's strong. This is the guy from earlier. This is Rafarga. He's going to teach us a new skill. So we get a training montage here to learn the pulverizing bash, which is basically just like a giant body slam move. We're gonna train all day long. I like the touch where they start moving slower and slower as the day goes on, because we've just been practicing so hard. So let's just spend the night at his house. He has a giant bed. He has a bed big enough to fit 3 teenage girls in it, which is impressive. We do have to be careful here if we get control and we're facing the opposite direction than you think we'd be when we walked out of the house. Just as, like, she walks up, but she's pointing down. So we're just gonna go say hi to Rafarga down here to advance things. So he mentioned some of his backstory. He was one of the Emerald's bodyguards. He got kicked out when they got attacked. And he's just kind of holed up in this house ever since. And then a scream. There's a bug. Umi's a prim and proper girl. She does not like bugs. Fu must be a very heavy sleeper because she's still asleep. And we learned the pulverizing bash, so you know what that means.
Clef.
And Precious,
Mysterious Sephiroth Lecture number 3.
you've just mastered the skill known as the pulverizing bash.
Indeed. By running to increase your speed, the power to throw yourselves increases as well. You can destroy places with weak foundations or small cracks with incredible ease.
But be sure to give yourself plenty of room to run so you can increase your speed.
That's right. Make a good approach, start running, and then boom!
That's all for today, kids. We'll let you get back to your game now. Have fun!
Remember, boom!
So what they mean by that is you need to be running for the pulverizing bash to work. So we need to have a actually be, gain running speed by walking a long distance beforehand, and then whenever we touch something that's breakable, we will break it down. This is actually the last skill we will learn in the game, in this speed run. There is one more skill that we can learn, but we will be actually skipping it, because it is technically unnecessary to get. So we're running, and we're gonna go hit this block up here and break it down. So Crimson Underpass is kind of a filler dungeon. I'm just setting up a couple things there with characters. Those lava enemies hit really hard, and we're gonna hope to avoid them. I want to head down here. There's a rock there that you can get a running start and just bash. And here we kept our running speed, so we're just gonna hop right across all of these. We're gonna miss that one because I hopped diagonally. That's okay though. We're gonna go up this way. Hop over that guy. want to use Hikaru to get the blocks because she can hit all of them at once. And then again here, I'm just gonna dodge those flames. I'm gonna go back and get a running start actually. There we go. You don't need to be running, but it makes this a lot easier to get through. And Umi can hit all the blocks at once there as well. Fu's the hardest to hit the blocks with because of she just has the single arrows. We just run straight up there, dodge the flames. And run through the end of the dungeon here. No boss, just a simple path through. So in this town, everything is fine. Everything's on fire. And if we talk to the lady outside this house here, she says that her son is inside this burning building and we have to go rescue him. So now for the Inferno Mansion. This is even though it's a very small area, it is very maze-like, and the enemies here are super annoying. There are these little fire rats that are running around. So I'll be charging up some shots to take them out and make this a little bit easier. So the theme of this dungeon is to collect a bunch of keys so we can get through to the end to where the boy is being held. I want to head back up the stairs. And into this door here. So as we collect the keys, it's going to unlock more areas of the dungeon to go through. We have to get 3 keys to get all the way through. Back up the stairs. So the fires do 1 damage, the little rat monsters do damage as well. Now that we have the red key, we can go through this door here, and then up through the red door here. Careful not to fall through that room, and now we can fall through down here to get the green key. Green key brings us back up to this area, which we're just gonna go back through 1 more time. And now we can go through to the last part of the dungeon here, using our red key and our newly obtained green key. Switch characters there just to be a little safe. And we can heal there at the fountain and head down through here. We're gonna switch to Umi. She is the best for this next boss. And we're not very happy with Alcyone, and we called her a bad word, and now she's really angry at us, so she's gonna send these fire skulls after us now. So I'll use Water Tornado twice on them, and then switch to Hikaru, so we can switch back to Umi, and use Water Tornado even more on the big fire skull. And we're just going to sit here and use Fire Tornado on him over and over again, because that does the most damage. And that's it for him. Normally, if you didn't use the magic glitch, you'd have to have a health or mana potion at this point to... Hey, that fire turned blue. That's kind of cool. To do all enough damage to him. And we rescue the kid, and there's no more fire. Also, Umi finally got a level up as well.
It seems as if Alcyone has been denied success once more.
She not only departed without your permission, but
That
lost
boss
to
used to
those
be one of the
three in
harder
your
ones in the
name.
game just because he moves so
It is
fast and he
nothing
does
short
a
of a
lot of
complete
damage in
disgrace, my
the
lord.
US version
I take full
because of
responsibility
the
for
buffs
her
that all
escape
the
and her
bosses and
actions.
enemies
I am
got.
prepared to die, master.
Charming, but unnecessary for now, Inova. Just continue to monitor her activities.
As you wish, my lord.
So they're not happy that Alcyone failed again. And Ascot's just kind of watching in the back, just kind of wondering, is this, you know, all right and stuff? So, village is mostly saved. If we talked to the boy's mom, she'd give us a rainbow amulet, but we don't need any of those. One of the original routes of the game had us getting 2 items from the rainbow amulet shop. It was an item that lets you regain your magic while you stand still, and one that lets you warp out of dungeons. However, you only ever need to warp out of dungeons in one specific instance, and we found out we can just do a death warp to do that. And then the magic... Before, even with the magic restoration, not going to be trying to stand still that often. So it wasn't necessary. So now we're in the Tree of Life town. We don't need to do anything here, actually. We're just going to walk right through and exit to the right here, to the waterfall. The Tree of Life town, what you're supposed to do here is you're supposed to go to the hospital and find out that there's no more leaves from the tree that they have in stock. You need to go find one from the tree, and then you need to go to the tree. Find out that you can't break into the tree because there's not enough room to get running, even though you can totally get running room. Go back to the town, learn how to run in place so you can start running without having to like get a walk-up speed. Go through that whole tree, get the leaf, there's a boss at the top, but we're going to skip all that instead. I'm going to switch my control scheme back to the default one because it's a little bit easier to pull off this next glitch that way. So there's a boulder in our way. We'll never get past it. I'm going to try to trigger a glitch, and there it is. So that is called map glitch. Map glitch is essentially when you're leaving a cutscene trigger, you press the map button to get small. There's a 7 to 11 frame window where you can press your map button to get small like that, and your hitbox also gets small. Basically, you're making yourself be the world map sprites. So what that does is that allows us to become that size, and we're going to switch our control scheme back. Become the map size, it shrinks our hitbox and also displaces us a little bit. We tap up just very lightly, so we can stay in that little lane there, but then also be able to walk around the boulder. And we don't have to do the Tree of Life dungeon. There is also a waterfall dungeon, where normally at the Tree of Life you have Ascot actually join you. He's incognito. And you have Ascot join you, and he is able to blast that rock out of the way for you. And then Caldina and Alcyone, they were talking in a cutscene that we also skip. they send you into another dungeon that's in the waterfall there, and then you have to fight Caldina at the end again, and Ascot and Caldina both die at that point. Because I think Alcyone kills Ascot, and then Caldina kind of destroys herself against you because she's so angry. So we skip all of that. We also skip learning Umi's Ice Arrow spell, along with the running skill. But again, Ice Arrows is only used in the Waterfall dungeon to get past one room. It's the same power, basically, as the Water Tornado, so it's not necessary. And we also skip a level up for Umi, so she's now going to be, at the end of the game, the weakest character physically. Sort of. Fu is still a little bit weaker overall, but Umi's going to have the least level ups. So as usual, we had to talk to an NPC to find out there's a problem going on in this town. His mom got hurt by the earthquakes happening from some creature. And we stay at the inn, because inn triggers everything. And now we're going to go find out what is going on with that creature. I'm going to pick up a couple safety items in the back of the lake up here. Give Umi a little bit more HP. And there's a magic jewel over here as well that we're going to give to Hikaru. Again, just for safety's sake, these are pretty quick to get. Hikaru's magic jewel will come into play later when she learns her final spell. Each character can technically learn 3 spells. Hikaru's going to be the only one to learn all 3 of her spells. We also skip Fu's 3rd spell later on. So, map glitch was actually found for the TAS as part of a skip to skip at the very first town of the game. You can actually use map glitch at a cutscene there, shrink yourself and walk around a boulder that is placed before the final dungeon, and just slip into the final dungeon that way. The person who tasked this game is Mitjitsu. The original task was, I think, 27 minutes, and you had to skip Polizu after doing the first dungeon, and then there was a lot of sort of like really tough boss fights after that. But then we found we could skip. Mitjitsu found you could skip the get the map glitch a lot earlier and not have to do the first dungeon, and then also with the help of the magic glitch, cut the task down to 13 minutes, and that's where it stands now. So the enemies here hurt a lot. But however, we do want to take damage because we do want to take a death warp at the end of this area. But we still want to be a little bit careful. I almost had Hikaru get knocked out there. So all of these enemies do a lot of damage. We don't want to get knocked out too quickly, because then we'll be sent right back to the beginning of the area, and that's not good. So I'm going to destroy this guy here. That's a tree there we can talk on. This is a health potion. I'm going to pick it up since I did use my health potion earlier. So these chimera things, as we call them, are very strong and are not a fun time. And now we want to go up and around into the water here. And then underneath this bridge. A lot of swimming, a lot of mashing. Again, this dungeon has a lot of different paths through it as well. There's a bunch of, rainbow amulets and other items to get. I want to fall down the right side of this waterfall. And I actually want to get running speed here. So, there we go. I got a little short run there, which is nice. Oh, Another sunrise medallion. So now we're going to push this block up here to get ourselves back around to where those butterflies are. And we're just going to stand here and have them knock us out. Fu only takes 2 hits. And Hikaru should just take 1 because she took damage earlier. And has, like, not a lot of HP left. So you want to take some damage, but not a lot of damage. And that's because to leave this area, you have to get back to the beginning. Otherwise, we have to walk all the way back to the beginning after we get the medallion. So now we need to go to the left side, because this is a 2-part dungeon. Right here, we're just going to go all the way north. It's a lot farther than it feels that I have to go. And it's a twisty path, so we're probably not going to get running speed. Oh, we did get it. Okay, cool. Okay, we're all the way north. We're going to go around this tree here. And we're going to head south. Before I get hit again, because these guys are very fast, and I'm trapped between 2 of them. Get that health. We want to actually head down that waterfall and into this cave here. Wait for this water to go through, and there's a magic potion in there. We don't need it. We haven't used our other magic potion yet. So here we're gonna head south. Kind of, please get around that bug. Thank you. Careful with the exploding trees. Oh, I did take damage from one. So we're going to switch to Fu here, so we can just damage boost through this tree. Usually we're supposed to use a flaming shock and destroy the tree. Don't need to do that. Okay, go up here, again through the water, mashing, mashing, mashing. And there's a chimera here that's going to go up the stairs. Another chimera. Switch back to Fu, and we're gonna go damage boost through this tree. Okay, I have to actually be really careful here. I need to get run speed. I'll try for a short run. There's that chimera there, so I'm gonna get him out of the way actually. It's a little bit easier. Okay. I don't want to refill my health because I'm gonna be taking a death warp soon. Okay, there we go. Run speed's a little bit harder here to get because 1, the chimeras, and 2, there's not a nice straight path by there. So that was pretty good. We had Fu get knocked out early, and we just need to take the 2 hits from the chimera there to get knocked out for the rest of us. So now we're back here. We're gonna put the medallions we got in the place here. There's gonna be even more shaking. So this wasn't an island, this was the back of the monster, and that little kid from earlier has been here the entire time. Riding on the monster. The monster's kind of angry because we've disturbed his sleep or whatever. And we're just going to use magic to take him down. It takes a little bit faster using magic than it does for using any attacks and whatnot, especially because of our low level. When we were normally leveled up, we would use physical attacks to take him down. He has a lunge attack. And you have to be careful of his tail at the bottom. But he's pretty slow moving. Okay, that's another thing that can happen when trying to use the magic glitch, is that your press is just a little bit off, so that you switch characters, but you try to cast the other person's spell that they're holding on to, and it doesn't work. So actually that happened twice there. We're gonna finish him off with physical attacks now. There we go, not bad. So we're gonna get some poo-poo here. Rakona's gonna talk to the monster. So even though Hikaru was the one to understand the monster through Makona, Fu gets the level up for whatever reason. But now this village's problem is solved, so we can move on. So the turtle agreed to take us to the sky, because apparently I think Fu's machine is calling her from up there, and also we were just told to go to the sky, and the turtle was like, hey, I can take you there. So now there's apparently a floating island town up there that we are now going to be in. This town is a bit of a weird layout. We want to go into this giant mansion to go visit the mayor. So we want to get into the sacred area, the Heaven's Labyrinth, and go see the statue back there of their goddess or whoever, but he doesn't want a bunch of strangers going back there, so he calls Hans, his beefy bodyguard, and he's gonna throw us out. So we can say we try again tomorrow. South. We gotta go across this way. And south. And this is the inn. Again, just staying in the inn because plot triggers. And now that it's tomorrow, we're gonna go visit the mayor again, and maybe he'll be nicer today. Maybe he has learned the error of his ways of being mean. It's a little bit hard to jump into doors like that, because you gotta open the door first. So apparently the key got stolen, and because we wanted to get the key, we're really suspicious, so we're gonna get thrown into jail now. So this is a decently long cutscene we have to sit through as he pushes us into jail. And we're so surprised because we're innocent little girls. Especially Umi. Umi's never done a wrong thing in her life. It's very handy that this jail has 3 beds all set up already. Fu knows how to pick locks, so we're gonna break out of jail, and I hope you like stealth missions. So this is very much like the Ocarina of Time sort of stealth thing, where you gotta go behind and around the guards when they're not looking at you. Their vision can be really wonky, so I'm going to be careful here so I don't have to sit through all that giant cutscene again. Alright, just wanted to make sure that that guy at the right turned before I went under him. I guess a little bit harder here. Again, their vision can be really wonky and they can just suddenly kind of see you out of the corner of their eyes. This guy we can kind of follow like this and hide in here. You can follow him all the way to the end and slip around him if you have run speed. But it is very hard to do that when you don't have the instant dash technique, which is the running technique that you learn. So this one's also a little bit difficult just because there's another guy off screen at the top there. So we want to slide in right here, kind of go up a little bit. Not go too far down. Your followers don't matter for being seen, so if they're out in the hallway, it really doesn't matter. And then we're going to slip behind this guy, and we're good. We switched to Fu here because she has glasses so she can see the best. And she notices some footprints, and apparently whoever the thief was went through the chimney. So that's Ferrio's flute. That means Ferrio's in town somewhere. And we're gonna go find him and see if he knows anything. Oh, there he is. He's kind of dirty, isn't he? And once again, he's with the lady. He doesn't seem too happy about it, though. Game has to reload there to get everything back in its position, and if we had gone down here earlier, we would have noticed this, but Rafarga's down here, and he's back in his armor. For whatever reason, he's all ready to fight now. I guess he got his resolve back or something. I think that's another cutscene that we skipped from the 2 dungeons that we skipped. I don't exactly remember where it takes place. So another cutscene here where we have to wait for all these NPCs to go by as they're going about their days and worshipping the Heaven's Labyrinth goddess. And yeah, Ferrio did steal the key, and he's gonna let this weird lady in with him. So at this point, we're gonna head into Heaven's Labyrinth. This is a decently long dungeon, and partway through you learn Fu's 3rd magic spell, Protective Wind, which lets you go across dangerous terrain and gaps. We're not going to do any of that. Instead, we are going to go up here, and kind of go right here. This will give us a decent distance to run forward. Oh, I didn't jump there, so we need to do that again. So if we had the instant dash, we could just start running in the first room. But because we don't have that, we need to start running up here and jump across the barrier here to keep our speed so we can start running. And now we're going to keep doing that until we land a certain way in this second room to create a displacement. It can take a few tries. You have to land exactly the right way. Basically, you're landing like sort of off screen, just like that. So we are now loading some of the sprites and the collision for a much later room in the dungeon, while still being on like the basic map of the first dungeon. And that actually warps us to that later point of the dungeon. This was the very first skip that Mitjitsu found while just kind of playing around with the game. What happened was he got knocked back by an enemy and had some funky stuff happen. And then he started playing around more and was able to find this skip. So we skipped the entire dungeon. That's another easy HP jewel to collect if we needed one, but we don't need any. Also don't need to heal because we didn't do anything in the dungeon. It's all a bunch of floating platforms and enemies flying around. There's a lot of lag caused by all of that, so it's good that we've pretty much always, not always, but for a while now in this speed run, we've skipped that dungeon. So since we're getting towards the end of the game and it's kind of aligning with the anime a little bit more, there's going to be a lot of animated cutscenes from here on out. So Fario got charmed, Rafarga kind of smacked him out of the way, and Rafarga's also charmed by someone. But we break through his charm a little bit, and he just kind of stumbles off the side of the giant floating island. I hope he's okay. And now Alcyon's going to summon a giant board to attack us. I think I have Fu in the lead here, so I'm going to want to switch that, because I want to just keep her magicked so I can use the glitch using her. This bird, he's pretty weak. All magic does the same damage to him. Come back. So we're going to do the usual, use the magic glitch from Fu to Hikaru. While trying not to fall off. It'd be a little easier to stay on if we had the running. Alright, that glitched it out. Oh, he hit me. So Alcyon's gonna appear and change him to red, or invisible. I thought it was red. So that's about, you know, about halfway through the fight, maybe a little bit more. He just becomes a little bit harder to see. It doesn't become any harder to hit or anything now. I think that's it. Yep, pretty easy. Alcyon's mad because she can never win. And Fario had no clue what was going on this whole time. So just like when we finished the ice cave and found a statue there, now we're gonna find the next machine. This is Wyndham, and this is Foo's machine. So we do end up breaking, the god statue in the end from the town. Hopefully they're not too angry. Meanwhile, at the evil people's lair.
Curse the fortitude of Rafarga. His will was much stronger than we had anticipated. How do you wish to address this situation, dear lord?
Equip your armor and go, Innova. I pray you do not fail.
I shall do exactly as you desire, my liege.
So we're bringing out the big guns, and Innova's gonna come down and attack us eventually. It's kind of a shame that we skip, I guess, all of the animated cutscenes and also that whole beginning section, because the other voices in this game are pretty good. We only ever hear the Japanese sound clips that they left in for the attacks that the girls do. It's Working Designs' usual set of voice actors that they used throughout most of their games. So if you've played Lunar, Silhouette Mirage, Growlancer, any of those games, you probably recognize some of the names that are used by Working Designs for their voice acting. So here we land in the Whispering Woods. Kind of a new area and kind of peaceful. So, turns out Rafarga's here. He landed and he's got amnesia. Make sure you talk to the old man or else the plot won't trigger. So we're told, oh, we can go get medicine from the Tree of Life. I actually forgot to do something here. So we're going to go to the Lake Village and then to the waterfall and back to the map from there. What I was supposed to do earlier is after I do the boulder skip is zone out the map one more time so that I open the connection between the Lake Village and the waterfall. But forgot to do that, so we'll just do it here now. And the boulder's still going to be there, I believe, so I'm just going to go back to the world map from here and travel back to the Tree of Life. So a few extra map transitions, unfortunately, but it's all good. It all kind of evens out in the end, because we would have had to do them anyway. I'm just doing them later. Because the game gets a little confused if you don't properly zone between them, because we're kind of skipping the whole area. We probably could just walk into the end of that waterfall dungeon and go fight Caldina now and make things even weirder if we wanted, I'm sure. So here, even though we never went to the Tree of Life, we can still talk to the nurse here and get medicine. We'll just pretend that her NPC boyfriend that was part of this section of the plot did it for us. Because that was the little plot, is that he was trying to go get the medicine, and he wasn't able to because Alcyone attacked him, and we had to get it instead. So we just told the nurse lady that, oh, he got it, but she knew all along that really it was us that did it. So now we can actually use the map to go the proper way back to the Whispering Woods. I almost went up there. That would have zoned me back out and wasted some time, but we're good. Now we're gonna give this medicine to Rafarga. His memory comes back, but then he immediately gets brainwashed again. And we're gonna go fight through these trees. There's an HP jewel somewhere in those trees. It's kind of hard to find. And now, unfortunately, we're gonna have to fight Rafarga. I mean, after Alcyone here appears, and Innova actually attacks her at that point and kind of does a good amount of damage to her. Or Rafarga attacks him, one of the two. So now we have to fight Rafarga. He does get iframes when charging up one of his attacks. So we'll keep an eye out for that. Basically it's when his eyes are glowing. He hits decently hard. Just want to keep him doing that charging attack there. That one right there, when he's charging up that attack. And when he's done a lot of damage, he's gonna turn red. That attack is extremely hard to dodge. Oh, not good. Okay, we're gonna go use my health potion. If Umi dies, we're gonna go use the health potion. Okay, we're gonna use the health potion. He moves around a lot, which doesn't help. But he still had iframes there. A little rough, but still good. He just hits really hard if he runs into you, so we can't bring ourselves to finish him off even though he asked us to, so Innova's gonna do that for us. So, after all that, the volcano, the other volcano, there's a volcano to the north too that wasn't the right volcano, but now the volcano over here is exploding, and Hikaru feels her machine calling out to her. So, we're gonna head over that way. We can just walk out through here, instead of having to walk all the way around the map. It evens out, basically, having to either walk this way or walk all the way around the map to get back to the first village, because the volcano is right down there. So as we can see here, this village kind of got a little messed up from last time we were here. It's not very green anymore. And all the houses are kind of destroyed. This is where the boulder is. And there's a bunch of trees there too that block your path from the Lair of Truth, which is the final dungeon. And that's where the map glitch is used otherwise to get around the boulder for the tasks. Alright, so this is the final dungeon in the game, actually. We're gonna learn Hikaru's final spell here, which is Flash. This is her dog. We kind of get introduced to him in the parts we skipped way early on in the game. Flash is a I win button, basically. It is a very strong spell. It takes a lot of MP to use. But with the magic glitch, we can use it anytime we want, pretty much. I just forgot there was an enemy there. Okay. So this dungeon is all about moving platforms and lava. It can be a little hard to get across these platforms because we don't have run speed. But the most complicated room, we can actually just kind of skip through the, I think I want to go up here. Stab that guy out of the way. Yep, I wanted to go up. Cool. And these little paths here, we have to be careful of the flying fire snakes that come out. So here, we're going to step up here. We can just go right, actually not right there. We can go down and around here, actually. Nope, there's a boulder there. Alright, we do have to go, still have to go around this way. And be careful of the enemies and the geezers. Right here. We can just walk through right there. If we were low on health, we can take that fountain, we can use the water spell on it, and just outright destroy, not destroy the fountain, cool it off, actually. So here, this is a bit of a teleporter maze. Where is the path? There it is. No. Okay, teleporter maze. This is the teleporter. Brings us down there. Okay, that's right. The hidden path is down here. Sorry about that. Hidden path. There's a platform over here. It's just taking forever to get over, I believe. Yep, there's the platform. It was just taking forever to get over. Sorry about that. Now we're gonna go on this teleporter. And there's gonna be lag here. Switch characters to buffer a little bit extra damage. Take a teleporter here. I believe there's a path over here. No? Oh, there it is. There's the path. And this is the hardest jumps in the game right here. We're gonna wait for this platform to come back round. And again, we don't have run speed, so we can basically just barely make this jump. Up a little bit further. Sorry about that sound. There we go. Now I have to wait for the cycles to align themselves again so we can actually make the jumps. We're just gonna water tornado that snake once he comes by. And then once these platforms align, we're gonna press the wrong button. Okay, we fell all the way off. Sorry about that. Alright, got that the first time. Again, the cycles are all kind of messed up, so... Go. These platforms don't count as solid ground. So I fell off, so I got sent back to the last time I was on solid ground. Unfortunately. Alright, we're almost done, though. This room here is want to dodge the fire snakes. And open the door and remember to heal. We're also going to switch to Flash. And here is the final machine, but also Alcyone. She is not in good shape. So we actually don't have enough MP to cast Flash normally. Therefore, we have to magic glitch to cast Flash. Flash is a very expensive spell. Be a little careful here. It's okay if Fu gets knocked out as long as Umi's still alive, because then we have something to switch to for magic glitching. And just 3 flashes takes out Alcyone. So it turns out that she loves Zagot, and that's why she wanted to do anything for him, including just like chasing after us because he wanted us to he wanted us gone. So they kind of noticed that, you know, there's been so much suffering that we've caused this whole time. Are we sure we're doing the right thing? But there's nothing we can do but press on forward and awaken the final machine. And Clef will tell us to go back to Precia's house. We didn't meet Precia either. We never met Clef or Precia. Clef is like the high mage of Sephiroth, and he got turned to stone, so he's been talking to us through Makona this whole time. And Precia is like a weaponsmith, and she's the one who made our weapons out of a special metal called a scudo that we had to go fetch for her.
Master Zagot, I implore you, return me to my original form. The power of the Magic Knights can no longer be ignored. It is my duty to destroy them before they become powerful enough to threaten you. But to accomplish that, I must abandon this frail shell.
So Inova's really angry, and he's going to turn back to his original form, whatever that is. We'll see it soon. And come after us to completely destroy us. So we don't actually get a level up after that dungeon, so we're not healed or anything. Although I don't think I took any... I did take some damage at Alcyone. So if I switched over to Fu, you'd see I still have a missing HP. So we have to remember to heal when we head back. We can't just teleport out using the map. We have to go back to Polizu, and now we can teleport out. Because that little part there still counts as the dungeon, for whatever reason. So yeah, final dungeon. Now we can just head back to Precia's house, even though we never been there, and you'll see something that kind of shows we never been here. So that door right there is still closed. That door is supposed to open after we finish this first area, but it just stays closed. So heal, and we're gonna head over here and talk to Precia. So Makona's still in the chair there because we never met him in the first place, but for whatever reason, that flag trigger is superseded by this one here, where we're getting to the end of the game, which is very lucky. Because it would kind of stink if we had to do, after all that, if we had to do all of the Makona scenes here and watch all that and, you know, whatnot. So the flags in this game, though they exist, they are very forgiving, even when they overlap. Same with, like, the Tree of Life, where the flag kind of overlaps with talking to the nurse to start triggering those cutscenes, but instead it triggers the later ones. So here we're just gonna teleport back to the cape that we started the game on, sort of. And Clef is going to tell us how to get to Zagat's castle. So Innova turns back to his true form, which is a big old dog. He's really strong. He's so strong, we can't take him. We get blown off the cape into a conveniently large field. But Ferrio's here to help us, and he chops off Innova's non-existent horn. So again, we just want to use Flash, and press Flash to win to beat Innova. We have to use Flash, I believe, 3 times? It's either 3 or 4 times. So where are you? Make sure that his iframes aren't going when we use Flash. When we drop him under half HP, he apparently heals a large amount. Almost like back to full, I believe. And that's Innova. Usually you'd have to use Flash a couple times and use the rest of your magic and then heal and use Flash some more. That's what we would be saving, like, all the mana and health potions for. We would use a health potion for Innova, we'd use one for Zagat. Yeah, we're gonna fight Zagat soon, sorry. And some other points, like a Caldina early on. So we're gonna do the point of no return and revive the machines. And fly up to Zagat's castle, which actually used to be Emerald's castle. So the machines, though they took animal forms earlier, are actually giant robots. That can fly and do a bunch of cool stuff. So now, once again, we are at the evil people's lair. Make sure I am completely healed. I am. We're switched to Fu, because we're going to need to have Hikaru to do Flash. And now we finally meet Zagat face to face. Teleporting then, so it doesn't count. Oh no. There we go. So that's it for Zagat. Again, 3 flashes. And now he is going to summon his giant robot. Because, of course, he has a giant robot, too. And now we fight as giant robots. The game is suddenly a shmup. So, okay, Eternal Spiral is Zagat's giant robot form. He has a number of attacks. He has a charge attack. He has a swipe attack. He does a lot of damage. We want to use Fu here, actually. This is the best time. This is the best time in the game for Fu to be useful, because for whatever reason, her arrows each do damage. Instead of just one hit doing, you know, 6 damage or whatever it is, every one of her arrows does 6 damage. So we want to get close to him and hit him with as many arrows as possible. So we don't want Fu to get knocked out, because the other characters are pretty weak. Umi is the weakest one for some reason. Hikaru is the strongest, actually, because she's got main character powers or whatever. Have to be a little careful here because, oh man, Fu did get knocked out. Okay, so we're gonna use our magic here a little bit. And we're gonna switch to using Hikaru. I can crash into him there. He can go down really quickly if you aim with Fu really well. Just gonna use bees. Hopefully I don't get knocked out here. Be really careful of those sword swipes. You can do multiple sword swipes in a row. And do them after other attacks. He's getting pretty angry, just kind of attacking constantly now. I crashed into him again. Ah, I keep crashing into him. This is not good. He also gains iframes until he attacks again after you attack him. There we go. Okay. A little rough. Basically, you just want to hit him with Fu a bunch, with a bunch of arrows as possible. Unfortunate that I kept crashing into him, but he still went down, and we're still pulling through. Another cutscene, and you think it's over, right? We defeated Zagat, just have to go up and rescue the princess now. Everything's gonna be all a-okay once we rescue Emerald. She's right behind us, we're so close. And Clef thanks us for our service for rescuing the land of Saphiro. Yeah, you know, the game's gonna finish anytime soon, we're gonna be all happy, and maybe we can get to go home. And, yay, we did destroy Zagat, and, Emerald is crying and super angry.
Because...
So, it turns out that Emerald and Zagat were in love, and because of the way Sephiroth works, the strongest thing in Sephiroth is emotion and feelings. So, because Emerald's love for Zagat was so strong, she was unable to protect Sephiroth. She was like their pillar, basically the thing holding the world in place. Unable to do that, the world started falling apart, so they hatched a plan to have Zagat capture Emerald and send in the Magic Knights to kill Emerald. So now we have to kill her. And that will somehow bring peace back to this world. But she has her own giant robot, and her own giant robot is really strong. As you can see, it knocked us out in that unplayable cutscene there. So in that cutscene, we use Makona to power up our machines and fuse them into one, like Voltron style or something. she has a set pattern. Lasers. No. Lightning. Lasers. Orbs. Fireball sparks. Sparks, and then fireballs. Hopefully that destroyed the sparks. I might have done that a little bit too early. Nope. Okay. Nope, it did not destroy the sparks. Okay, we got knocked out, unfortunately. Let's try this again. We're gonna have a lot more HP this time, because for whatever reason when he got knocked out, it kind of gives you a bunch of HP. Having a little bit of trouble there, we're trying to explain the boss. Essentially, she has a set pattern. She is going to attack in that set pattern no matter what. There's a lot of parts to her. She has, like, shoulders, she has horns, she has her head, her arms. They all do, once you destroy the different parts of them, you stop that attack. But what we all need to do is just attack her head, and that is her main HP. And once we destroy the head, then she'll go down. So it's unfortunate that we died pretty quickly there, but we'll just start over here. And there we go, that's time. Sorry for being quiet there, I was had to concentrate on her pattern. Yeah, she's pretty easy if you just stand there and not get hit.
Excellent work, fair magic knights.
So a 147.56, that is a PB for me. This is the first time I had run through this with the new route with all the new skips. The history of this game is sort of like, there was a 4-hour and change time that I did with a bunch of safeties and whatnot. Then Shentok is the other main runner of this. Brought that down pretty drastically by cutting out a bunch of the safeties and items that we were collecting. It was hovering around 2.5 hours for a long time until Mitjitsu came around and found a large number of the skips from doing the task. And now it is down to, the record is I believe like a 127 or so. So shoutouts to both Shentok and Mitjitsu for hammering the time down of this game very well. So I'll let the credits play out, and there'll be the usual thanks at the end and whatnot for all Working Designs games, and hope you enjoyed.